United States federal government shutdown of 2018 to 2019 legislative history. Background. In September 2018, Congress passed two minibus appropriations bills for the fiscal year 2019 federal budget, H.R. 5895 and H.R. 6157, which began on October 1, 2018. These combined 5 of the 12 regular appropriations bills totaling 77% of federal discretionary funding, and included a continuing resolution until December 7 for the remaining agencies. It was the first time 5 bills had been enacted on time in 22 years, since the 1997 fiscal year. On December 6, Congress passed a second continuing resolution, H.J. Res. 143, lasting through December 21, to give more time for negotiations on Donald Trump's proposed border wall, which had been delayed due to the death and state funeral of George H.W. Bush. Beginning of shutdown. On December 11, Trump held a televised meeting with Speaker-designee Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer in which he asked them to support $5 billion in funding for a border wall. They refused Trump's demands and an argument followed in which Trump said, "I am proud to shut down the government for border security. I will be the one to shut the government down. I'm not going to blame you for it. I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down." Schumer said, "We shouldn't shut down the government over a dispute." 3 days later, Politico reported that Trump was willing to sign a bill with no funding for a border wall that delayed a government shutdown into 2019 and the new Congress. On December 18, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell met with Trump and announced that the government would not shut down on December 22 and that the president was flexible over funding for a border wall. Senate Appropriations Committee Chairman Richard Shelby commented that the most likely resolution was a bill that funded the government until early February. Schumer added that his caucus would very seriously consider such a bill, and Senate Majority Whip John Cornyn said, "I don't know anybody on the Hill that wants a shutdown, and I think all the president's advisors are telling him this would not be good." The next day, the Senate unanimously passed a second continuing resolution, the Further Additional Continuing Appropriations Act, 2019, H.R. 695, lasting until February 8, 2019. Pelosi announced that House Democrats would support such a measure, meaning it would pass the House even in the wake of opposition from conservative Republicans. After increasing criticism from conservative media, pundits and political figures, Trump reversed his position and declared that he would not sign any funding bill that did not include border wall funding. The House then passed a version of the continuing resolution on December 20 that added $5 billion for the wall and $8 billion in disaster aid. Negotiations in the Senate did not lead to agreement on passage of a continuing resolution that day. Trump's changing position caused consternation among Senate Republicans. When asked by reporters what the way forward was, retiring Tennessee Senator Bob Corker laughed, "I don't know. Y'all have fun. I'm getting ready to drive to Chattanooga. You can't make this stuff up." The shutdown started December 22 and President Trump announced that he would cancel his planned trip to Mar-a-Lago for Christmas and stay in Washington, D.C. The meaning of the term wall was expected to be an aspect of the negotiations. Attempts at resolution. 115th Congress. Congress adjourned on December 22 for the Christmas and holiday season, with many predicting that the shutdown would not be resolved until the start of the 116th Congress. The Senate reconvened on December 27 for 4 minutes, with Republican Senator Pat Roberts, RKS, presiding over the session. The House briefly reconvened as well, with Republican Majority Whip Steve Scalise, RLA, saying that members should not expect any further votes for the rest of 2018. Representative Jim McGovern, DMA, went to the House floor to try to force consideration of a short-term funding bill to end the shutdown that the Senate had already passed, but the Speaker refused to let him speak. Congress then adjourned again until December 31, 2018 for a pro forma session. 116th Congress. On January 2, 2019, the last full day of the 115th United States Congress, there is a pro forma session scheduled to last several minutes. The following day, the new Congress will be sworn in, and the first order of business after swearing in the new members will be to achieve as a joint resolution with the Senate over the funding of the federal government.